Honestly, with a control like this, could I rule the world? Yeah, I think I could, pretty much. Want to see more? Want to see the car that this is all attached to? Me too. Come along. Let us examine it together. Electricity. So how about this? You know, in the short time we've had electric vehicles sort of mainstream, there have already been changes. It's kind of amazing. And this Genesis GV60 before you, you may recognize this car. It's one of the first I did on this channel. I compared it to a BMW, one of the X's, and it was a fascinating comparison between an internal combustion engine and an electric powered car. So what's changed? This is that was a 2023 version of the car. And this is the 2024 in Atacama, it's copper. It's a beautiful copper, and copper is so fitting for any kind of a electric vehicle because there's copper involved with it, because there's a big electric motor, you see. So what's changed? Where are we going now with this car? Well, what's really interesting to me is if you look at the family of cars from the Genesis Hyundai platform, which there's quite a few electrics in both sides. The Hyundai side has electrics, including, which I think is one of the best electric cars on the market, the Ioniq 6, the Kevin Bacon car, because it has a battery that not only has excellent range, over 300 miles, but it charges really fast. It's addressing all the problems that we have, or I wouldn't say problems as much as just shortcomings or limitations to an electric vehicle. Now, in a way, the GV60, it came out way before the Ioniq 6, but it's using what I consider to be an older technology. Let me tell you one example right off the bat. This has a lithium-ion polymer battery, and the Ioniq 6 just has a lithium-ion battery. Or maybe this is officially called a lithium polymer battery. Maybe that's what it's called. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't have near the range, and it takes much longer to charge than the Ioniq 6. And that's surprising, but then again it isn't, because I believe, based on my own feelings on the matter, that the Ioniq 6 is a next generation type of electric vehicle from the Hyundai family. So now, is that a good or bad thing for you? Well, it depends on what you want, because this is a beautiful car inside and out, and it has, this is the performance version of the GV60, so it has a piddly little 429 horsepower, which is plenty of power for the likes of you. So 114-inch wheelbase, and an absolutely beautiful aerodynamic body with all kinds of cool everything on it, as you're about to see, because they really go overboard with their Genesis electrics and trying to make everything new, different, exciting, and kind of announce the fact that this is a completely different type of vehicle than we've been living with for the last 100 years in terms of a full electric that is now becoming the thing. Yeah, we even got electric pickup trucks now. And this is just the beginning, folks. We're witnessing the very beginning of a big sea change in terms of how cars are powered. And I think, you know, this is an interim. I think battery-powered electrics are an interim unit before we get to fuel cells and things like that. So stay with us, and let us go together through the amazing thing that is an electric GV60 for 2024. The autumn leaves float by my window. Yeah, look at this. Look at all these leaves that have come here to visit you. It is autumn, and it goes good with the copper, I think. But under the hood of our GV60, where's our engine? Well, there is no engine. There's only motors. But there's two of them. There's one in the front to drive the front axles, for this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. And the one in the front is 160 kilowatts, and the one in the back is 160 kilowatts. And all this adds up to 429 horsepower. The battery is a 77.4 kilowatt lithium ion polymer battery. And all you have under the hood are your basics, like your windshield washer, coolant, because there's a lot of cooling involved with these batteries, a lot of heating too in the wintertime, and we're heading toward it, as you can tell from the autumn leaves. And what's underneath here? It's a storage area. Look at that. Not a huge area, but look, you even got this little thing to tie stuff down there, and it's kind of like they didn't know what to do with it because it's on top of an electric motor, so there's not a whole lot of vertical room to build a big box on this particular vehicle. But it's there, and could you put the charging cord there? Sure you could, if you want. And what do we have over here? This is our 12-volt battery underneath here, as far as I can tell. And, or wait a minute, I lied. God, I'm such a liar. Here's our 12-volt battery right over here. And how this all works is you got to remember your 12-volt battery is very critical. Just like it is with anything else that has an internal combustion engine. If your 12-volt isn't working, you're not going to go anywhere. In this case, the 12-volt battery powers some of the accessories, like I believe the window motors and that kind of thing. But more importantly, it's the thing that starts up all the computers, that starts up everything else and actually drives the car. So if your 12-volt battery is working fine, then it will fire up the computer system that runs everything, and that will give it access to the big lithium ion polymer battery mounted underneath the car at the base to provide all that power for your 429 horsepower output. So there you go. It's one of the things I love about, whoa, it's autumn, whee! One of the things I love about these cars is there's just not a whole lot to them in terms of the overall complexity of it. They make them more complicated than they need to. And I'll talk about that more as we get into this car, but overall, the actual propulsion system is very, very straightforward, far fewer parts than what you have with an internal combustion engine. And what of the transmission? There is no transmission, basically. What you have is motors that turn faster as the car goes faster, as you call upon it to go faster, I should say. And that's what keeps things moving. There's no planetary gear set or anything else. There's, of course, gears that go from the motors to the differentials to the drive system. But overall, I just stare at this car because I think it's so beautiful looking. It's very compelling and very unique. It's easy to spot one of these things. Look what I've done here. Looks like it just ate an apple tree or something there. Oh, there we go. Much better. Actually, that was what kind of tree was that? I'm thinking it's probably a gray birch, but as we take our 360 around here, I want you to remember something. You were here when all this started, all this electric stuff. Yeah, Tesla was the one that got things off the ground for the most part in terms of production and a semi-readily available electric car, but everybody else is doing it now. The manufacturers that have always been building cars are just moving into the next phase of propulsion. And what's going to be after that? Well, probably, like I say, I think fuel cells are next, because you still got to have your battery to run this thing, and you still have to have something to plug the battery into that will replenish it. after, in this case, about 220, 235 miles, something like that. So, you want to see more? Shall we delve deeper? That's what we do here. We're deep delvers. Stay with us. 255/40 R21 is our tire size, meaning we have 21-inch wheels of kind of a wild, not really chrome, but not really flat steel. They're just, they're really cool wheels. I think they're probably extremely light as well, which everybody, you try to reduce your unsprung weight as much as possible, and one of the best ways you can do that is by using alloys that are lightweight for the wheels themselves. And they do that here at Genesis. And this is our Michelin. Which particular Michelin are we? Will you tell me, or are you sitting on it? There's the outside of the tire. It's a primacy something. We'll look at the back and we'll find out. But look at the size of these brakes. I mean, there's something you got to remember about how important the braking is on an electric car as far as how it feels to you if you test drive the car. Because regenerative braking is so critical to maintaining your battery, is helping to max out your range, is what I should say. Because that's when the motor generators, they're called motor generators for a reason. They're motors when they're propelling the car forward, and they're generators when you're coasting or braking. And they swap over, and the drag and the momentum and the inertia, is it inertia or is it something else? Momentum of the vehicle turns the motors, and they're in their generative capacity, then they'll put power back into your battery. And this is adjustable on this car with paddles, which I'll show you. And it works really well. But that's a real important part of the car, because that helps, like I say, extend the range of the battery. And at the same time, it helps extend the range of when you have to have your brake pads replaced, because a lot of the braking burden is taken up by that momentum going into the generators, which were motors a microsecond before until you took your foot off the gas. So there you go. So these are beautifully integrated into the car, by the way, and it feels like normal brakes for the most part, but you will notice it when you let off the gas. God, see, I'm set in my ways. When you let off the accelerator, you can feel it, the braking kick in, and it's adjustable as to how abrupt that is. But like, for example, when you're on the eco setting that I'm on right now when I'm driving the car, it's a much stronger feeling of braking than you might have otherwise with some of the other settings. So, and let's look into our cargo area, because this is an SUV after all. Whee! The first thing you can see is I left this case in here. That was dumb. All right, what do we have? We have a beautifully finished cargo area. It's not huge. It's not an enormous cargo area, because as you can see with that fastback roofline, that's going to compress your cargo area a little bit. But as we get up here, here's our 60-40 split on our rear seats. We got about 24 cubic feet back here, or is it 27? I don't have my specs in front of me. It's in the 20s, and you fold the seats forward and you get to 50 plus, it's like 54, 57 cubic feet of storage space. So you can haul people, or you can haul things, or you can haul a combination of both. And what do we have underneath here? Well, isn't this nice? It looks like a luxury car. It is, by the way. But here we have our excellent Genesis kit for in this bag right here. This guy right here. That's where we have our charging cable, should you choose to charge at home rather than like some kind of a commercial charging station. If you just want to plug it into your house, it's going to take you like days at 120. At 120 volts, it'll take you a long time to charge the car. And literally, I believe it's 79 hours or something like that. From like 10% up to 100%. But The thing is, you're probably going to be charging a vehicle like this at places that are dedicated charging oriented, and like your workplace or your commercial chargers that are out there. That's where you're most likely to charge these things. Oh, one thing I didn't notice, what do we have in terms of our spare tire? We don't have a spare tire. We have a tire repair kit, I believe. I can't get this thing to, oh, that's the problem. There we go. I believe we'll put this to the side here, and this is, I don't know what that is. I don't know what anything is. There's our owner's manual. Tire mobility kit. All right, there we go. Everything is so beautifully packed away. And that's probably, I'm willing to bet, let's see the weight here. Yeah, I bet you that's your towing hook that you, if you need to have the vehicle towed for any reason or freed, if it is stuck, it's kind of like a recovery hook that screws into the, well, let's put this back together. Oh, look at that. Look at how smart they are compared to me. I tell you, these people, these engineers, they do such a good job. They really do. There we go. So it's nice and roomy back here, but it also has a luxurious finish, which I think at the price point of this vehicle, which is up there, but God, what isn't? It's cheaper than a lot of pickup trucks. You have a real versatile cargo situation here, and the lift over is fairly low. It's about mid-thigh. So if you're going to lift your heavy parcel that contains your incredibly valuable antiquities, you can just do that, and off you go. All right then. How do you like that taillight treatment? It's kind of neat, isn't it? You got a little bit of a spoiler. One of my foibles with this vehicle, though, let me go around this side. As you can see, it has a rear hatch. You just experienced it, but we have no rear windshield wiper. I think the car really needs it. This is becoming common, and it's strangely common on a lot of electric vehicles like the Toyota BZ4X. It doesn't have one either, even though it has a similar type of hatchback affair because it's an SUV. So that bothers me, and I'm assuming it must have something to do with aerodynamics. I can't figure out why in the world they otherwise would not have a rear windshield wiper. Doesn't make any sense. How much does this car weigh? Well, you're looking close to 5,000 pounds. A little less than that. But this is the performance version, which has some, I'll put it this way, it's probably the heaviest version you can get of the GV60. It's also the most potent with its 429 horsepower. And there you go. Is it biased in any particular direction? Well, you can get a rear-wheel drive version of this car or a front-wheel drive version of this, or excuse me, or an all-wheel drive version of this car. So from a handling standpoint, that is fantastic because with all the power that it does, even the regular version, the non-performance version has on tap, it's good to be able to steer it through the rear wheels. I hope I'm right about that. They've changed things so often that sometimes I get confused. Think about the component nature of an electric car like this. You have a propulsion unit for the rear and a propulsion unit from the front, and who says you can't just swap them out? I mean, take one out of the front, take one out of the back, whatever you want, and you have that particular drive system in the car get along just fine. And of course, the best way to go is to have both, and that's where we get our all-wheel drive. And now that we are firmly located in the future, let's check inside the interior area because that's where the real bells and whistles take off on you. Experience the universe in the Genesis GV60. Wow, isn't that weird? I don't know what happened there. Here's our instrument cluster, and as you can see, the information I currently have displayed is fairly rudimentary, but very important. because one of the most important things, you suffer from what is called charging anxiety or battery anxiety or whatever. You're always wondering about, turn that down a little bit, sounds of nature, experiencing the universe. You're always worried about, do I have enough charge left? Do I have a place to charge when I need to charge? All that kind of stuff. Well, this information is right here in front of you. And in this case, over to the left, it always tells you right there that you have a certain number of miles before you need to plug in. In this case, 165 miles. And then we have a battery indicator here that says we have 65% of our battery. So that's good. And then here's our very, very simple charge and power meter with a speedometer in the middle of that. It's about as straightforward as you get. Now, so far, as you can see, after charging to 100%, I had 77.3 miles of mileage that I've driven so far. So that looks like 77 and 165 is quite a bit. I think we'll probably get pretty close to what the stated mileage was when we started at 100%, if you will remember, which was about 230 miles, 222, something like that. So this in the central we have that, which is very useful, but also to the right is a drive info screen that tells you how many miles you've gone this trip and the average numbers of miles per kilowatt, which is kind of telling you what the car is up to. Below this, we have our engine regeneration, regenerative braking, God, where did that word come from? Regenerative braking situation there. And then using the paddles, you can change that. I'm increasing the regenerative braking. As you can see, the little thing extending, and now I'll make it go back. See, there we go. So you can adjust your regenerative braking. There are certain circumstances when you're driving that it won't let you do that. Why is that? I don't know. But there are various circumstances that it will not let you adjust the regenerative braking. When you leave it on automatic, that's pretty much where you want to be, because the car seems to do a very good job at kind of judging the circumstances under which you want to control that. So, as we zoom back, you can see the steering wheel is pretty loaded with all kinds of stuff. Here's your all magic boost button right here, which I use sparingly just because it's great fun. It's your light speed button, but at the same time, and it releases all your horsepower, your 429. But it also depletes the battery much faster. So I'm all about range. I'm all about econ settings when it comes to electrics, at least in this point, until I get completely over my anxiety, my worrying to death that we're going to run out of power somewhere. Even though the modern EV is pretty well equipped to give you plenty of warning about that, and once you learn your way around, and there's all kinds of settings, including this car does have a which I'll show you in just a minute, that is extremely useful from an informative standpoint about how far you have left to go and where the nearest charging station is that the car knows about anyway. So in the left side of this, we have all our cruise control, and of course we have, this is right here is your lane steering right there, your lane tracing or your assisted driving, whatever you want to call it. This is the distance that you're following the car in front of you in adaptive cruise mode. And pretty straightforward. Now this right here, this will change our screenage. So look at what I just did there. There's our, that's our overall settings that will tell, if we had the adaptive cruise control on, it would show you the distance to the car in front of us as far as what you have it set to, all that good stuff. Then there's your pure navigation, which is very pleasant. And then there's our after charging screen you just saw. So that's pretty much what we have there, near as I can tell. This little black button right here is something you can program as far as what you want it to do, I believe. I'll just press that button and it says custom button. And mode settings and navigation, all this kind of stuff you can, there we go. Selects the desired function for this button. So you have an opportunity of putting exactly what you want in here. Now, over here, on the right-hand side, there's our drive modes, by the way, which is Eco, Comfort, and Sport. Very straightforward, and I pretty much leave it on Eco for battery conservation. But I mean, the beauty of that is, yes, you conserve the battery, but you still have plenty of power. I mean, this is a very smooth, powerful drivetrain that will take you where you want to go very quickly and efficiently. So, what else do we have for you? Well, this is our volume setting for our radio. This is our stations. You can go back and you just kind of whisk your finger, your digit, your thumb over that, and it'll change channels for you. This is when you want to talk to the car. This is your phone interface, obviously. Here's our paddles. I mentioned earlier about our regenerative braking settings. And as we jog over here, this is what I wanted to show you about EV. Here we go. We hit that, and there we go. Isn't that great? Now, it's telling me, for example, right here, we have 65% of the battery left, and the next charging and closest charging station is 6.6 miles away at Gates Nissan. They have a charging station according to the car. So that's, again, they do as much as they possibly can to, oh, look at that flare. There we go. They do as much as they possibly can to make sure that you have all the information you need so you will have no battery anxiety, and you're convinced that you have, you know, you're under complete control, like if you're just driving a gas car. And you can plan your day accordingly if you need to. And you need to know, you know, what kind of charging you're going to get, because unlike the Ioniq 6 Hyundai, which is a family member of this car, this takes a lot longer to charge compared to that. That thing's kind of amazing. I don't know what they're doing there. It does appear to have a different battery. Like I say, we have lithium-ion polymer batteries in this one, and the Ioniq has just lithium-ion batteries. So I don't know what's going on with all that. But there you go. If what else do we have here? We have your navigation right there. I just hit nav, guys. Come on, nav. See, nav, N-A-V, nav. Now it's telling me which. Okay, it's separate from the map, and there's our map right there. And I believe there is a 3D setting on this. It may depend on the range you're at. And how do I make it go further in and out? Well, right here. Here's your dial. See, these two things, like I say, I'll go more into this in just a second, but I find these two easy to confuse, even though you wouldn't think so. But I'm telling you, there we go. Now we're all 3D. We're all about the 3D. And now we're 2D. It depends on the setting. I mean, it depends on where you're at as far as range is concerned. And this right here is this is Neptune right there. It's floating through the universe that we're listening to. What else? What else? We have radio. We have media. The media, of course, is what we're listening to now. Is sounds of nature, experiencing the universe. You have all these wonderful choices here. You have Lively Forest, On a Sailing Ship, City at Dawn, Moment of Meditation, Warm Fireplace, Counting Money in a Deep Vault. Oh, it doesn't have that one. Oh, that would be fun, though. I would find that encouraging. And down here, we have our climate control, which is extremely easy to use because it's very, very straightforward. You got your conventional buttons. You have a very elaborate screen to help guide you along in your climate controlling. See if I can get rid of that. Boy, that's just a flary morning, and that's all my fault. I apologize for that. That's my switch. That's my Acme. It says Acme right along. Oh. But this is nice because it's, like I said, the only area of standardization we seem to be experiencing is in the climate control. It's very easy to follow your way around and adjust things as you need, as you see fit. Very straightforward. Dropping down here, we have this suspended. Look at the suspended area we have. We have this area down here that's wide open. And then we have that little cubby right there to put stuff. And immediately above it is a couple of USB-C ports and a 12-volt power port. 180 watts. Holy cow. So this is kind of a flying, it's not a flying buttress. It's more of a something like for little people to jump off a precipice. Or I don't know. You hear lemmings. If you see any lemmings, they'll come right on here and just jump down there, and I have no idea why. Here's some more radio controls, and well, actually, that's not true. This is more than anything else. This is just another alternative for you to adjust the center screen, because in theory, you're going to have your hand sitting right here, your right hand here in America, left hand overseas, various countries in the EU, or at least Great Britain anyway. And you got your home screen, and you got your menu screen. Menu is, God, it takes a long time. You have to use a combination of the dial and the buttons to get you where you're at, where you want to be. But that is, like I say, this is the guide that basically allows you to navigate. And of course, it's a true touch screen too, so you can just touch it if you wish. Now when we drop back, and here's our drive control center. And as you can see here, we have a number of settings: reverse, neutral, and drive. That's it. Park, you press here. And oh, I need to show you this. You've seen this before, but it's one of my favorite things ever. Turn the car off, and it disappears. Turn the car on. Whee. Oh, I didn't have it. There we go. Got to have your foot on the thingy there. Yes, okay, here we go. There we are. For your entertainment pleasure. How does that work? It's amazing. It's all circular, and yet it's somehow connected. But here's how you just shift into reverse right there. We're now in reverse. And here's our screen assortment, by the way, which you have an excellent backup camera, and you also have a number of choices here. See, here's a dog running around there. And here we do our, whoa! We can do our 360 degree. See, the dog is there. This is a virtual reality situation. And you can swing it with your finger, right? Look. You can do there if you want to do that. And can you use this? You sure can. You can also use the dial to whip around and check the area around the car for orcs. You know, that kind of, you don't want any orcs. Boy, there's another wasp on the outside of the car. I swear there is a wasp nest somewhere right around where this car is parked, and I can't find it. Fortunately, they haven't interacted with me. Thank you for that, guys. But there's your park. You just press that right there. And the problem I have is the diameters of these two things are so similar, and they're so close together. They are in proximity that I find it easy to confuse the two. But that's me. I mean, you may not have this problem. You may not have this problem at all. But there you go. By the way, one thing I didn't neglect to tell you is the screen here. Here, that helps. Huh. The screen right here is primarily set up in this particular mode when it's on automatic for your seat adjustment, immediately available. Heating and ventilation. And the air conditioning system is on the car, so, you know, there's times you might want to shut this stuff off if you're desperate to save on your battery, but for the most part, you can move along. But wait, I'm not done with those settings, because right down here, we also have seat settings as far as your heating and your ventilation, heated steering wheel, auto hold, which is, if you know anybody named Otto, it'll get a hold. Well, no, that's not true. Here's our cameras again. Press the button to display the camera view, or press and hold and activate the parking assist system. So there's our cameras. Once again, there's another shot right there that's, interesting. But there's our, that's our camera setting for there. And then again, this is the passenger seat settings also. And this is your park assist to help you from crashing into stuff. And this has an ability to do some self-parking, I think. I ignore that stuff, and I apologize for it, because a lot of you are probably interested in that. But I just find it completely silly that if you've got to learn, with all the cameras you have on the car in particular, learn to drive your car. Learn to park it. I mean, these are just basic functions. All these automated systems, to me, they take too long to park the car. And what happens if they make a mistake? They're not infallible. And then what? Are you held accountable for what the car, or is the manufacturer on the hook for the insurance, or the dent you put in the car next to. I mean, I just stay away from it. That's me. You are free naturally to do whatever you want, enjoy it, but I personally think it's silly, and it's a waste of time and resources to put it on cars, and it makes the cars more expensive. But there you go. They don't listen to me. Why would you? I don't know. So how about our upholstery? Well, naturally we have Napa leather, and as you can see, there are very generous side bolsters for your comfort, and it is heavily perforated for your ventilation and everything. But the thing about it too, you feel this leather, and this leather looks like it could last about 1,000 years. It's very, very stout. It's good stuff. So we all approve of that. And then as we go up, here we have our adjustments as far as, here's our map lights, center lights, all that good stuff. This is if you want to contact Genesis and have a chat about something, you can just hit that. I believe that's a subscription service. I never do this, but look here, look at there. There's your, look, you got your light, your dome light. Make yourself all purty. And then here, this is one of my favorites. This is the shade that you open and close. And there it completely shuts. And if we open it, we do that. It's still very heavily tinted. And I thought there was a way to adjust the tint, because they know how to do that with chemochromatography that they somehow put into the glass itself. I don't think this car has that, because I can't find it. And I'm getting to the point where if I have to dig and dig and dig and find out where it is, that's a fail in my view. I'm getting real tired of these cars that you have to find the owner's manual to do basic stuff that should be easy. Oh, but on a more pleasant note, this is, I think, great fun. There's our glove box. Look at here. It slides straight out. It slides, instead of tilting down, it just slides out. And it's actually got quite a bit of room in there. Very, very, very classy. I like that. So as we continue to maraud our way around the universe with our Bang and Olufsen sound system, yeah, buddy, let's head aft. Let's go into the back seat and see how it is back here. Now again, these handles just pop out when the car is ready to receive you, and they, quiet dog. Door's fairly good sized door, and it opens about 82, 83%, something like that. But for the most part, those door handles annoy me, because I just think they're too much electronics, motors, and everything else that you really don't need to have. But that's, that's the age we live in. By the way, the driver has the option over here of crushing the, putting up and down, back and forth, just messing with all kinds of ways your passenger. And that's the way it should be. The driver should have total control over whoever's there. So once we're seated, we have a totally flat load floor and very, very good foot room and leg room and very decent headroom. It's kind of you sit down in the seat more with a higher belt line, as you might be able to tell here. And our windows, how do our windows? Oh, we have heated seats, by the way. Almost 100%, but not quite. Let's call it 90. You also have window shade. Very nice. Look at this cup holder. This is an aggressive cup holder. I mean, it's just right there. What else do we have here? You have your door locks, your heated seat, and more Napa leather. One of the things that's nice is the width of the car allows for a substantial couples distance. So you could absolutely get 3 people back here, but you could get 2 people back here really comfortably and have plenty of room to themselves, which everyone likes. We do have our expandable tablet and/or magazine holder, or extensive legal document, whatever you have. 2 more USB-Cs. a big area. There's a lot of storage on this car, which is really great. I love that. I love having a lot of bins and cubbies and stuff because ultimately they will be occupied with things that you'll forget where you put stuff, and you'll look for it, and months later you'll find, oh, I put it in the car. You know. Our armrest, it is at a jaunty angle. It's kind of perfect height-wise. It's very easy to deal with, and I find overall it to be very comfortable back here. There's ample lower back support, and there we go. And you do have your 60/40 folding into our cargo area back right there. So the thing I love most about this, I really love it, when a car has a completely flat floor. It's so nice because all this foot room, you can move around, you can sprawl out, you can do whatever, and that's very, very convenient and useful for your passengers back here. They won't complain near as much, and they won't complain at all because look at that, they got that beautiful panorama roof right there. They got this Bang and Olufsen sound system. There's just so much love about this interior, and it's not over the top. It has a lot of electronic U-Hauls. U-Hauls? Is that a word? But overall, it's a very straightforward cabin and very attractive, and the workmanship seems very good. Will it rattle over time? Well, like I say, with electric cars, if a vehicle ever develops any kind of a rattle, you're going to hear it because the car itself is so quiet. So I don't think so, though. It seems to be a pretty well assembled vehicle to me. Moving on. Wait a minute. Moment of meditation, warm fire, rainy day, experience the universe. We are now experiencing the universe. And what a universe it is. All right, I'm still trying to practice my ability to use the paddle steering, regenerative braking on the paddles of the steering wheel. See, if I hit that, that'll slow us down a little bit. Oh, no. Wait a minute. No, this is the one where you hit minus and you actually get more regenerative braking, and you hit. That's really confusing to me, but then again, I am confounded by the, eating an apple is hard for me. It's like flying a spaceship through the edge of the universe. I have a button here that says boost right here. It's kind of like going to light speed. All right, that should slow us down a little more. And that slows us down. It works. I'm telling you, I'm getting better at it. Whee! So what do you think? I have a real problem with heads-up displays, and this one's not turned on. But for some strange reason, because of the sound of the universe and the quietness of the drivetrain and the regenerative braking paddles, I feel that somehow, some way, a heads-up display might work on this vehicle. Boy, I tell you, I need help. I need therapy. I need a vacation. I have one coming. First time this century, I will be getting away for a while. Purely for all the right reasons. Oh no, wait a minute, I had it backwards. This is minus, decreases your amount of regenerative braking, and plus increases it. Yep, that's how that works. Now we're back on automatic regenerative braking, where it adjusts it itself, which works very well for me. I like making my own adjustments. Nice, nice. How's our, we have 182 miles left. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not too bad. Look here, they've repaved. Enjoy the repaving with me.
Oh my God, I hit the boost button. Or did I?
Ooh, look at this. Well, this is fun. Our battery's down to 94%. Our range is down to 242 miles. To, if the air conditioner's on, I guess that's what this symbol says. But if I have that, whatever the hell it is, off, that's the propeller. If you have the propeller turned off, and you're basically just dead sticking it, you can get 255 miles out of it. Isn't that interesting? EV energy transfer is V2L. What's that? Minimum percent charge. Oh, I don't need that. Go back. I like this. This is fun. So it seems to stick real nice, this one. Oh, the Mansfield Public Library has a charger? I didn't know that. I wonder how good it is. You know, there are some of these charging stations, there are not many of them, but some of them that they don't charge you. And then I go into, for example, the best electric car I've driven, I just drove 2 weeks ago, and it was by far the best that I've, as far as range, recharge time, and just general overall nice package, was the Ioniq 6 from Hyundai. I guarantee you there's some DNA between that car and this one. There's some sharing. But that was such a good car. But when I went from 50% to 100% at a charging station, a national charging station, and it cost me about 25 bucks. Now, if I was to put half a tank of gas in, like, oh, I don't know, let's pull one out of the hat, a RAV4 hybrid, it would be that or less. That makes no sense. But the fact of the matter is, electricity is as expensive as they want it to be. And there was just Electrify America just made an announcement that they're giving more of the local franchises more control over pricing, I believe, to try to help them with some markets. You know, it depends on what the kilowatt hour cost to them is to supply it to you. So in some cases, I think they were not doing as well financially because the kilowatt hour price was so much higher. So I think now you have more adaptability. Now, if memory serves, I paid exactly the same amount 2 weeks ago as I did about a year before. I don't think it did change much. And it was, I still thought it was outrageous. Especially given the cost. I looked at what we pay for our home electricity, and it's not even close. I mean, the charging stations, they want to make a lot of money. They want to make a lot of profit. All right, we're going to start cruising now. Now I have to get reoriented on there we go. Push that button and we're now going. cruiser ratio. And I can change the falling distance right here, I believe. No, that didn't work. Okay, sorry. Working on it, working on it. There it is. How about that? There we go. Well, I tell you, these symbols, you have a certain number of bars with your adaptive cruise control, and on manufacturer, man, does that distance vary. Some, I swear, it's a car length, and others, it's a lot more than a car length. Car length and a half, I'd say. I noticed that the other day with the new Toyota Grand Highlander. Is the phone ringing? Why is the phone ringing on my thingy? How are the monks going to meditate if the damn phone's ringing all the time? We're going to have to go back to Lively Forest. That's all there is to it. We are going to have to go back. Ooh, energy information. All right. That's where we were. Electric use. Look at all that. EV history, but we don't seem to have a... Huh. All right. We'll go to media, and we will go back to Lively Forest. Come on now, Lively Forest, please. There we go. Looks like our rain has kind of diminished a bit. That's nice. Oh, what a wonderful sight. I have 100% charge and a range of what it says is 266 miles. Pretty good. And it only took about 49 minutes from 52%, I believe. So we'll take that. Wow, gaze, if you will. It's like it's glowing. It's like a glowing tuning fork. What in the world is it? Well, if you come to the aft end of your GV60, this is a rear suspension, and there's so much interesting things to see. One of them, look at how beautiful. I think this is like forged aluminum, something like that. But this is it's a multi-link to end all multi-links in a way. What you have here is, God, I love how beautiful that is. That's the main link, which has the coil spring right here. No air springs on this. And as near as I can tell, well, there we go. There is your electronic unit on the shock absorber right here to adjust your damping depending on what the ride settings are. And this right here is your front link right there. Then you have a link here. And this is either a torsional link or part of a rear steering system. I don't think it's a rear steering system on this particular vehicle. As far as I can tell, I mean, Genesis loves four-wheel steering. And there are things that look to me like it could have it, but I don't think it does. It didn't say so in the Monroney that I looked at anyway. It supposedly belonged to this car. But, boy, isn't this a beautiful and elegant suspension on this thing? Typical Genesis. You'll see that all the flatness here, this is one huge piece of metal that stretches from here all the way up to the front to the lower subframe for the front suspension up there. And it's one piece. So it completely covers the battery array, which is substantial, which is probably about 1,000 pounds worth. And here, right here, is some of our electricity loaded interface cable that goes into the rear drive system. And underneath this big black thing here is where our rear differential and drivetrain is. Now let's see if I can I do this? Can I poke around here? What do we have back there? Yeah, it's pretty much hard to see. But this is our rear drive system, and it's the 160 kilowatt, just like the front drive system. So you have it split 50-50 as far as your power distribution. When you have it on full welly, like if you hit the boost button, and all this 429 horsepower is going right into all four wheels. So what do you have besides the flatness of the undercarriage? That's it. This is the beauty of the electric right here. It is far more aerodynamic, probably hydrodynamic if you went through water in it, and a good amount of ground clearance, because this is an SUV. Although it's not the kind of SUV you're going to take off-road and just have your way with rocks, because it's got a pretty long wheelbase and it doesn't have that much ground clearance. But for light trail work and that sort of thing, you're in real good shape. And the amazing thing is, if you just take a look at this, it runs from pretty much the rear wheels to the front wheels. That is one huge battery tray. And that's how much battery it takes to power a vehicle like this. When you got two 160 kilowatt motors, they require a lot of power, especially if you want to go fast. And this car is very capable of going fast. And it's also very smooth because it's electric, so everything's smooth. The bottom side is smooth, the electricity is smooth, the acceleration is smooth. It's all about being smooth. And this is something that Genesis is very good at, is being smooth. But there's our other side. As you can see, there's that beautiful lower link right there. And no, like I said, no air suspension, but it does have everything else. And as near as I can tell, I'm looking very carefully to make sure I'm not missing any kind of a constant, not necessarily a constant velocity joint, but just practically any kind of bearing or what do you call them things that they're sitting on, and people that it's the end of your tie rods up front and they break and then your suspension falls apart. What the heck are they? Ball joints. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I don't see a ball joint on this this link array right here, but it looks like if they wanted to convert it, or if there is a model that they have that does have four-wheel steering, they could certainly do it, because it's all readily available. So there you go. There's our GV60 undercarriage from the rear, where the suspension is always more interesting than the front. And typical Genesis attention to detail. Are all these millions of parts here? Oh, I forgot something. Wait a minute. I always like to point this out. Where's the device? Here we go. Here we go. Right there. What is that? Oh, that's a cable of some sort. Where's our anti-sway bar? It's, you know what, well, incidentally, that right there is your right there. That's your drive shaft. Boy, it's a very thick drive shaft, but you'd think it would need it, with all that horsepower. Looking for an anti-sway bar, and I know there is one, but I just can't see it because of all the cladding underneath here. But this is a complicated rear suspension, and hopefully it's one that will be free from any kind of real maintenance requirements, other than changing the shock absorber at some point. But those are very stout-looking shocks. So anyway, I digress. There's our GV60 rear suspension for your entertainment, pleasure, and knowledge.
So anyway, 2024 GV60 Performance from Genesis, our all-electric twin-motor wonder. You don't see the price on the Monroney, sorry about that, but this is a $69,550 MSRP on this vehicle. As you can see, it's extremely well equipped. There's not a whole lot of options, in fact none on my particular model. So this is a beautiful car, and they've made some major improvements in terms of range, which is what you care about a lot, right? So if you want an electric, check it out. It's quite a beautiful machine to drive, very fast, very smooth, very powerful, and very Genesis. and that's actually a good thing. Take care, everybody.
You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.